All right, welcome to another Raw Emotions podcast. Yep, we got all the original four with us today. We got Oscar, Will, Isaac, Tim Vigil. Back again.
Good to be back.
Back in the game.
Tim
Yet
back.
again. We rolled the dice.
Again.
Tim is back. Back again. All right, we rolled the dice beforehand. Both me and Tim with the same order of 4, 3, 2, and 1, which means Tim, William, then Oscar, then me. So we're going to get things started with a question from Timothy Vigil.
Alrighty.
All right. Well, I guess before I ask my question, I'd just like to throw a shout out to Josh Spahn for filling my spot. Thank you for doing that.
It wasn't as good as you think.
Well, yeah, I haven't listened to the podcast.
We enjoyed having him.
We like to laugh at him.
Josh
is fun to laugh at.
I still haven't listened to that podcast, but I had a good vacation, and I needed a vacation after the rigorous Raw Emotions podcast we've done.
Then the rest of us deserve a vacation. So
yeah,
exactly.
I'll just do one by myself.
Tim will be by himself.
All right.
So look forward to that.
Not.
Or don't look forward to it at all. Okay. Well, okay, so let's start with our first question. My question has to do with Bungie just released their teaser trailer for their new game, Destiny. And one of the things that me and Oscar were talking about earlier in the week was that it looked like it was going to be very non-solo player. Like the game wasn't going to be like a single-player game. And what's your take on the presence of single player in video games? Like, is it more important you have a good multiplayer experience or a good single player experience?
Single player.
Single player to me, but it really depends on the game and what the goal of the game is. Because if the game is made for multiplayer, then that's good. But if a game wants to have a good story, I think they should put as much of their resources as they can into the single player instead of
I'm
just
gonna buy
like
a game more for single player than
I buy a game more for single player than multiplayer too.
I want a good story. Uncharted games are awesome. The BioShock game is awesome.
Okay, well, let me ask. Like, you bought Call of Duty Black Ops 2 when it came out, right?
Right.
So did you buy that game for the single player or for the multiplayer?
No, I bought that to play with Seth and Matt.
Okay.
See, it just depends on the game.
Yeah.
But I played the single player and it was a good story. It was a really good story.
For me, anymore, I don't know if I just don't have the attention span to play storylines anymore, but I really enjoy good co-op campaigns. Like,
that's also a story, though.
I love story campaigns, but when they're made well for two people, that's one of my favorite. That's my best way to experience a video game is with another person. So they're really important to me. But
video games are like kind of like same as movies to me. If it's one that I really want to like enjoy and one that I've been waiting for, it kind of like it's kind of like a intimate thing for me, like where it's like if other people are there,
candles.
Yeah, I like lay down the rose petals and stuff, and
some Kenny G.
But then like when they're like when other people are there and they're like talking through the whole thing and like making little jokes about it, I'm like, I'm trying to enjoy this right now, like, and I actually like this, and you're like making little jokes about it the whole time, and it makes me feel kind of uncomfortable. Like I shouldn't be enjoying it, or like you're just bashing it to try and be funny while I'm trying to just enjoy this game. But then there's games I play like Red Faction Guerrilla where you do make fun of it the whole time, but it's awesome because you just like destroy buildings and stuff. I don't know. And there's movies like that too for me. It just depends on what game it is, just like I've said before. What game it is, how long I've been waiting for it, and wanting to do with it like the whole time. It's for me.
Yeah.
I'm just not the most solitary person. I used to be, but anymore when it comes to like movies and video games, those are just things I enjoy them on a much higher scale when I'm sharing them with someone, like whether I'm watching a movie with someone or whether I'm playing a game with someone, but just like solo campaign or just sitting alone watching a movie, it doesn't keep my attention enough or something I can't focus on. I think I'm very community oriented, so that's a lot more important to me.
I agree with that. Because there's certain games like, I know like the Halo games, those are super fun to play the story mode with multiple people. I remember when Halo Reach first came out, me and William, along with Josh and Seth, who have all been on the program so far. The program, yeah.
Official.
Program.
So we all played through it on 2 Xboxes together, and like we kind of made fun of it, and we're doing crazy stuff the whole time, and it was a lot of fun. But then like the Mass Effect games, like I love those games, and it's like watching a movie because like all the cutscenes and like the way you interact, and it's like you're inside of a movie playing it, and that's the kind of game where like they added the multiplayer experience in the 3rd one. And it was kind of fun, but like the single player experience in that kind of game was way more important to me than a multiplayer experience. And I think that I agree that some games, the single player experience is what they're going for, and when they're going for it and do it well. But some games, like, they get crossed up trying to do both well, and I think you have to build on one and then build up the other side of it.
See, that's Irrational Games. Their motto has always been to not do multiplayer unless they think they're going to make something absolutely spectacular, and they pool all their resources into single player otherwise. And they say that Ken Levine always says, why would I want to waste my time and money on making a multiplayer if a week later everyone's going to go back and play Halo or Call of Duty? And so then I appreciate that he recognizes that and just puts all his resources into single player instead.
I think that's one of the things that sports games have realized of late too, is the power of single player. Because I know like a lot of sports games have always just had like team mode, but then like the my player modes and the new basketball games and like the football games have them too. I think so. They think that single player has a real niche, but I definitely agree that certain games are made for the multiplayer, and I love the experiences. Like Halo 4, I've played a ton of multiplayer. I've played the story, but I've played a lot. I put 10 hours in on the story and 100 hours in on the multiplayer.
And then there's games that are literally made for multiplayer, like Counter-Strike.
Mm-hmm.
Call of Duty is basically made for multiplayer.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I know people that buy the game and then are just like, oh, I've never played the stories.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of stupid.
I know people like that, too.
It's kind of really stupid,
actually. But definitely, they know that their target audience is going to play multiplayer a bunch. And so.
Sandbox games are my favorite single-player games, I think. Like, when I was thinking about, just thinking about what games I played, and when it's a story, that's something I like to share. But if I'm just running around, like, fooling around, like in Skyrim or Just Cause 2 or games like that, that's something that I can just put in and play for 15 to 30 minutes and just kill time with, and that's something I enjoy as a solitary experience.
Yeah. I think those are my second favorite kind of game behind narrative-driven games. Like, it doesn't matter to me if it's linear as long as it has a good story. But definitely, sandbox games are, like, up there, though. Like, sandbox games that have a good story, like Red Dead, then I'm just like, this is the best.
Sandbox games that are, like, a cohesive story that you can go all the way through and you don't have to do a bunch of side mission stuff.
I like having side missions.
I like having side missions available to me, but I don't want them to have to do a side mission in order to get another mission.
Like, you like games like the Grand Theft Auto game where it's one cohesive storyline, but then there's also side missions.
Like, Far Cry 3 is one of my all-time favorite games that I've ever played. And that had a cohesive story all the way through, and then I went back and did the rest of the stuff because it was so fun. But you didn't have to distract yourself with side missions in order to complete other missions in the game. Like, go pick up this package and deliver it here. It's like, ugh.
I like a lot of side missions. Like, Skyrim has a ton of side missions. Like, you could do the main quest in, like, 2 hours if you just tried to push through it. Probably not that fast. That might be an exaggeration.
They have speed runs on it.
But you could go pretty quick through it. But I like to just, kind of make the story my own. I like that element to those kind of games where, like, I don't have to do it the same way. I've made like 30 Skyrim characters. I've only played most of them to like level 15, but I get to do things my own way, and that character is different and interacting with the world than the previous character. Yeah. So I like games like that.
My highest Skyrim character is like level 40, and I still haven't done the second storyline quest.
Yeah.
Because I find so many other things to do.
Oh, yeah. I definitely, whenever I start a Skyrim game, I go just far enough in the main quest that there's dragons roaming around.
And that you have all of the unrelenting force.
No, I don't even go that far.
Oh, I do, because that's the best shout. Because I think it's hilarious to, like, watch things ragdoll off cliffs.
That's true. It is fun, but I like to go, like, get the ice form one that just, like, freezes them into a solid block of ice.
And then they roll down hills, and that's funny.
That one's good. Or just get some of the random ones that, like, kill small creatures.
Something about side missions is that when some games like Red Dead, like there'll be like the random encounter ones, you know, where it'll just be like, you find like the person like, oh, come help me, and then they steal your horse. And it almost seems like...
See, but that's fine because that's on your way to a mission.
Well, I know. See, it's fine and it's good, but then it seems like it gets to a point where it's like kind of it gets the same thing over and over. So you'll be riding by and you'll just see the person that you know is going to steal your horse. So you just like shoot them and keep.
Same exact lady I saw like 500 feet.
So then you don't even like stop. You just like shoot them and keep riding
to another stage.
It's like
It's like, you idiot.
It's like you almost. It's like. After you do it a certain amount of times, it's like your character can then predict the future because you know how the AI acts, so you can tell when it's like an ambush or whatever. Yeah. So you just, I mean, that's fun, but I think when it's a little more controlled, it's better because then I don't know, sometimes it gets troublesome, I think.
Yeah. So in summation, I like single-player stories better than multiplayer games.
Me too.
All right.
Well, I think we all agreed that we like story-based games better than just shoot each other a bunch.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy just shooting you guys sometimes, though.
I think
Tim, you were the one that gets shot.
That's true.
Sorry to break it to you.
Really fun.
Yeah, but I usually, if we're playing Halo, I often stick somebody while I'm getting shot, and they blow up as well, and then I feel good about
From
myself.
the grave.
I guess my overall statement on the subject would be I probably enjoy story-driven games more, but I'm pretty positive I spend more time playing multiplayer games.
Yeah, it's easier just to pick it up and drop it.
Well, plus, like, how often do they release great storyline games that you want to buy and play?
That's true. I just know most of my gaming time is spent less on narrative-driven things and more of I just don't have enough time. It's just more of a... I mean, I have enough time. I just spend it differently. It's more on just the 15 minutes here, 15 minutes there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Mr. Bailey.
All right. So, my question is... What is the best idea that you think you've ever had? Like, and not and it could even be something where it's like at the time you thought it was the best idea you ever had, but now you're like that wasn't the best idea. Like it was stupid.
Does this have to be something we've acted out, or just like a thought process?
It has to be something,
like
where
that's actually come to fruition.
No.
Okay.
No.
Can it be like something? Like, can it be something ridiculous? So we're like, this would be awesome if I could do this.
Well, it can't be like a really like fantasy thing. It can be something. It has to be something that could actually happen.
Okay, I think mine is still in the grounds.
Like where you could actually do it. Like I mean, it might be hard to do. You might have to go more school, or you're like, oh, I want to be an airline pilot. Like you could do that. Like
I'm gonna roll it.
We're gonna roll it. All right, this is the best idea that I've ever had, and I still think I could make $1 million on this idea.
All right.
Because it could be the next Snuggie. It's a hat with a pillow right here for your neck. With a detachable pillow pocket that you could put on the back. So it's a hat with a flap in the back that you could stick a pillow in. So that way, if you want to lay in an airplane, you just put this hat on with the little neck pillow on.
What if the thing that you put the little pillow in, like it could roll up into the hat?
Right, that's what I thought about too. Like, so you can take the pillow out and then put the little bag part over the bill.
Yeah.
And then when you want a pillow, you just take it off and you put the pillow in, and then you just sit and relax.
More expensive lines to have like built-in speakers.
Well, you could do it like college teams, NFL teams. You could do it all.
You could.
That's $1 million idea right there. That's a genius idea.
Well, how about you pitch it to someone?
And it's a pillow hat.
Ooh.
The pillow
and
hat.
That's the name of it.
The McCall. Can we just call it that?
No, pillow hat.
The pillow hat. That's a pretty good idea.
That's the best idea I've ever had in my life.
It's a good idea.
I'm crying a little bit.
Tim doesn't like it.
I've had a lot of stupid ideas that I thought were really good at the time. Some of them have come to fruition, like the car accident that I was in a couple years ago.
88 miles an hour.
80 miles an hour.
Yeah, but did you honestly think that you could go back in time? Why'd you go 88 miles an hour?
Okay, so
the flux capacitor was just broken.
I guess
this is the second time that
the flux capacitor wasn't fluxing.
Back to the Future.
Yeah, I guess I should tell the story.
Second sequential.
So
Back to the Future reference.
It was the day started. It was in the summer, and we didn't really have anything going on that day. And so we were up on Ethan's roof. We were like throwing rocks in the park or something, and
Of course.
yeah, so
Any respectable person would do.
Duh.
we just
I call that Tuesday.
we had nothing to do all day, so we climbed off the roof because his mom was headed home and stuff, and so we were just like hanging out in the house and kind of being messy and loud. His mom was like, "You guys need to get out of here, go do something, go on a drive, go on a walk or something."
Bet she felt bad after that.
So there was we drove in town and we went over to Goodwill, and this is kind of where the whole idea started getting rolling. I found a big puffy like a vest, and I put it on. I was like, "Hey guys, I'm Marty McFly." And so from then we just started making more Back to the Future jokes. And there was a road. We would take the truck out on Ethan's old truck, Sheila. We'd take it out on drives occasionally. I don't know, being stupid, but it was something to do. And that day, because of the Back to the Future thing, we thought it would be a good idea to get the truck up to 88 miles an hour. Like, yeah, we'll get it up to 80 miles an hour, hit the hazard lights. And we didn't actually think we could time travel. It was just kind of like a joke thing. And on the way there's kind of enough road to do it, but we didn't get up to speed. So on the way back, we've been out there for a few hours. On the way back, we're like, let's do it. And so we got it up to 88, and me and Omar were sitting in the bed of the pickup truck. And so we're like, yeah, complete trust in the driver. Not that we shouldn't have had, but just thinking it would be just fun to go fast and be stupid. And there was a corner that we didn't see, and long story short, we hit a tree at like 80 miles an hour. And so that was probably one of the stupidest ideas that has ever come to fruition. But if I'm thinking of other ideas that I've had...
But you honestly thought it was a good idea at the time.
Yeah, it wasn't a good idea to time travel, but we saw no consequences in going that fast on that road. It was fun. It was like, yeah, let's do this. And we were all behind it. It was kind of like,
Fair enough.
I don't know if you remember this, Will. Do you remember?
Parents, when you ask your kids what they did and they say not much, this is what they were doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, except Oscar couldn't say that because he was in the hospital. So when he said not much, they'd be like, I don't believe you.
No, because he just told the police, yes, I ain't no Marty McFly.
It's true.
Yeah, that was in the newspaper, wasn't it?
I think so.
That's funny.
The officer asked me if I had anything to say, and my response was, I'm no Marty McFly. And yeah, the paramedics, when they came out to the crash site, because we were out there for a couple hours, we were pretty messed up. All of us, there's 4 of us, we all survived. 2 of us were thrown from the pickup truck at 80 miles an hour. It's kind of miraculous. But they were like, are you on drugs? Are you on alcohol? What are you doing? And we were like, no, we're just stupid. And they were more upset at us for not being under the influence. I'm pretty positive. They were just baffled by the level of stupidity.
So what were you going to ask me if I remembered?
Do you remember my kangaroo plan?
Which one?
The one to get a kangaroo from Australia?
Oh, where you were going to hit its mom and abduct it?
So this is an idea that I had for 2 years. When I would like to say it was when I was in middle school, but it was freshman year of college and senior year of high school.
Yeah, this is definitely not middle school plans for Oscar.
So
he was smarter than that.
I've wanted a kangaroo for the longest time, and so I talked to an Australian about it, and she was like, "Kangaroos are like deers in Australia. If you ever hit one with your car, you have to check. People hit kangaroos in their cars with their cars all the time in Australia." And she's like, and if you're a respectable person, you go and check to see if there's a joey in its pouch. And she's like, and a lot of people keep them as pets for a little while and then turn them into shelters and stuff. And so my plan, I was like, okay, here's how I get a kangaroo. I go to Australia, get a rent-a-car, drive around hitting kangaroos until I find one with a joey, get some, cosmetic tape or fashion tape or whatever, pin its tail back and its ears, dress up like a dog, and smuggle it back to the U.S. Boom, kangaroo. And for the longest time, I thought that was the best plan in the world.
He thought that would work.
I still think it'd work. I'm not gonna lie.
It wouldn't work.
I think
It might work.
I'm confident in my.
If you put a pillow hat over its ears, then it might work.
If you wear a pillow hat on the.
It's true. So those are my bad ideas that I thought were excellent at the time.
I think that plan would only work if you had a private jet.
Yeah.
Well, then you wouldn't have to disguise it as a dog.
Yeah, that's why the only person to be able to fool is yourself.
It's true.
My best idea I've ever had.
Or that you thought was the best idea.
I have no idea. One time I got the idea to graduate high school.
And he did it, dang it. That should be named to him.
That should be, yeah, because that is a big accomplishment, actually.
It was like climbing Mount Kilimanjaro. It wasn't quite Everest.
It's a Tim Vigil story.
It'd be called Vigil.
It would be called 2.8. Tim Vigil story.
From 0 to 2.8 in 2 years.
The Tim Vigil story.
The best idea I've ever had. I don't know. I invented a sport with the help of William one time. That was a pretty good idea.
That's pretty awesome.
We never actually did it. It was called knife ball. It was a prison sport.
It's a game for prisoners.
So you have to play with homemade chips.
That's you start with those, but then the more games you survive, the better knife you get.
Jeez.
We thought it'd be a good
You
idea.
could make it into a video game.
Yeah, well.
There you go.
They probably have.
Knife Ball, the iOS game.
Knife ball, yeah.
I'll tell you what our best idea was ever. With
Is
the
this
help.
your official answer?
Yeah, my official answer with Tim and with Rudy and with Tim's sister-in-law, Emily Daly.
Oh.
We made a card game called...
And
Oscar helped too, but he was asleep
Here's
most of
William's
the time.
best
Hey.
idea. Raw emotion.
Raw emotion.
Okay.
All
I'm
right.
just saying, the glue factory was my idea.
Yeah, you had some help in there, but you were passed out most.
Anyway, let's let.
But
William explain what's
I
going on.
admit,
Okay.
you did help.
I just want founder status still. Like,
Guys,
I'm
me
in that,
too.
I'm in that clause.
No, Isaac, you were here, not there.
You're right. I was busy.
But anyway, we were bored one day, and Rudy was over and Emily was over at Tim's house.
Yeah, it was
and,
just before my brother Rudy went to Germany. For the army.
and so we were gonna play a board game, but we didn't know what to play, and so then we got some cards, and then Oscar's like, "What you guys playing?" And Tim's like, "Russian Dream Horse." And then he's like, "What's that?" And then we just started laying down rules as to what Russian Dream Horse was, and it turned into like a legitimate card game. Like it's pretty complex, but is like a legitimate card game. Once you learn it, it's not hard to play.
Yeah,
At first, it's confusing, but after you learn it, Russian Dream Horse is a legitimate thing.
It's fantastic.
One of the things about it is that it's for one hand of Russian Dream Horse, you can literally play for 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah.
So it can go on forever. I still have the rules written down over here somewhere. But I remember most of them anyway. But that's true. That's probably one of our best ideas.
Yeah, that worked out really well.
Yeah, because we just made it up on the fly, and it swept a group of people we knew. Played it pretty religiously for a couple of weeks anyway. We haven't played it in like 5 months, but
You should sell the rights to Parker Brothers.
I can
Make it
tell
turn into a
you.
movie.
I can tell you what Tim's worst idea ever was.
Oh.
To hit a tree with a baseball
have we
bat.
really
was
talked
awesome.
about this?
I don't
No.
care if we have, because it's
Wow.
hilarious every time that you hit yourself in the
Okay.
face with a baseball bat.
If I haven't explained this already, I had a baseball bat. We were filming a trailer for a fake movie, Bad Boys 3 CG unit.
CG
unit. We were filming it, and I was just the extra who died like all the time in the trailer. So they were filming a part with Isaac, who was playing the villain, and William, who was playing Will Smith's character.
Yeah, I was Will Smith, and Oscar was Martin Lawrence.
And so I was just the extra who died a bunch. So I'm just standing off to the side, and I had a baseball bat because that was my thug weapon. And so I've been like hitting some like little like grass and like little like startup trees and like breaking them. And then like in my brain, for some strange reason, I thought that I could hit the baseball bat hard enough against the tree.
It was
that
a big
tree would dent.
It was a giant catalpa tree too, if you know what that is.
Massive.
I didn't think I could knock the tree over, but I thought I could dent the tree. So I slam the baseball bat into the tree as hard as I can. It ricochets back, hits me right above the eye, knocks me down onto the ground. I kind of black out for a couple of seconds, and when I get back to it, everybody's like, "What happened?" And I had a massive black eye.
And we had almost captured it on film, right?
Yeah, we almost got it on film.
Because you can see him swing the bat, kind of. If I'm not...
No, I wasn't in the shot because Seth was the other way, and then he heard the thunk on the tree, and he kind of swung around. And so he got me laying on the ground, but he didn't get any of the actual
But
swing.
there's a picture of him afterward that is on my computer back home in Oregon of Tim with his
That's right.
I also
nasty eye.
remember we were afraid to go inside for like an hour ever because we were afraid what your mom was going to think.
And it was
Because we were in high school at the time, so.
And I think one of our worst ideas we've ever had was to make Bad Boys 3.
Yeah.
GG unit.
Here we go again.
Here we go again.
Oscar as Martin Lawrence is probably the most hilarious thing ever.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a lot of fun doing that.
Oh, we had
It's
fun.
Martin Lawrence's best performance.
All right. Well, I think we've pretty much gone over that subject, too.
Oxnard. It's your question.
Your question, bud.
All right, down to me. So Sony announced that they were doing a big event on the 20th. And leading up to it, they've been showing a chronology of the PlayStation. They released a video for the PS1, and then the PS2, and then the PS3. And so all the speculation is pointing to the release of the PS4. And everyone's thinking they're going to show it off on the 20th. And so my question would be, what are things that are essential in the system for you to buy it? Like, what do you want to see in it that would make you drop the money on it? And, like, I guess it's a three-part question. There's what do you want to see in it that make you drop the money on it? Like, what's a necessity? What are your fears about it? And what are some dream things? Like, what is something that you'd love to see, but you don't think that they're going to incorporate?
Honestly, for the PlayStation, you just kind of know that if you want to keep playing good video games, you have to upgrade at some point. So you might as well do that. But for PlayStation, I just want to see better graphics, and I want it to be backwards compatible with the PS3.
Oh, yeah. I definitely would love it to be backwards
I want
compatible.
the controller to be similar. I want backwards compatible. But other than that, I just want outstanding graphics, and I will be completely fine with them.
Because I'm absolutely fine with gameplay. I am not the kind of gamer who thinks there needs to be like a bunch of new things when it comes to gaming. Just give me a controller, and I'll be fine. But, like, they have that rumor, like, well, it's pretty much confirmed, but still a rumor because it isn't really confirmed by Sony, about the touchpad
Like,
on
I've
the
seen
controller.
the controller, and it doesn't look terrible.
No, it doesn't. And, like, I'm fine with there being touchpad and that being implemented into some games and stuff.
But I don't want it to be huge.
But, like, I don't want every developer to feel like they need to use it.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when the six-axis first came to be, and everyone's like, rumble your controller to throw a grenade. It's like, all right, well.
Well, I guess.
Yeah.
If I have to, I will.
Yeah.
But you just feel like you're fishing.
Well, yeah, and it's like in the first Uncharted, that's an option. It's like, tilt your controller to throw a grenade, and then after that, they're like, well, how about you just hit
L2? When you
L2?
walk over the bridge, you have to balance.
Yeah,
yourself.
just hit L2
And then
instead.
in the third one, they're like, don't worry about
Yeah,
it.
don't. Just use buttons.
Well, I think, like, as far as...
Well, you're an Xbox guy,
I
so
do.
what do you want to see in the Xbox?
Okay, I guess I can carry over. What?
Yeah.
Anyway, the biggest thing I would like to see in if Microsoft's new console that they'll eventually announce probably at E3, I would like to see them get Blu-ray capabilities. I don't know if they necessarily will.
They have to pay Sony.
Yeah, if they, that's one of the things that I would like to see. Because if they didn't, that would be one of the things where I would consider switching over to the PlayStation 4. I like it. I want it to have better graphics, but I just don't want it to get to the point where, like, I don't know how much better you can get the graphics better. Obviously, you can make it look like it was live action,
Right.
but I don't want it to get that realistic at the same time.
Well, I still want it to look like a video game. I don't want to be playing like movies.
Yeah.
Well, I think that sometimes that might be okay if certain games still stick to different art styles. Like, there will always be games with different art styles where they don't want to look really realistic. Like when Borderlands changed from like realism to cel-shaded. Like, that's just a change of art direction, and it's still an amazing game.
Yeah,
like,
they changed the theme of it too. I think along with the realism thing, like as far as like you were saying that like graphics are as good as they can get, like the PS3 in my opinion has a lot better graphics than the 360. And, like,
it has better capabilities, but a lot of companies they port from the 360, and so it like appears worse on the PS3. When if they actually made the game directly for the PS3, it would have been way better.
Heavy Rain.
Yeah, if you look at Heavy Rain or Metal Gear Solid 4.
And like, Metal Gear Solid 4, which was an early game.
Which was like almost a launch title.
And that game still looks better than a lot
And
of
all
games.
of the Uncharted games are pretty good.
Yeah.
Uncharted 1, Naughty Dog says they messed up a ton on their visuals, but to me it still looks amazing.
And Uncharted 2 is awesome. When that was
good.
But like, I know a lot of friends who have high-end gaming PCs, and seeing the graphics on those, like, I've played Borderlands 2 on a PC, a 360, and a PS3, and seeing it on the PC, like the textures and effects, it's just little things that you don't think you necessarily appreciate, but you do. And like the PC's processing power, not just graphics.
Yeah.
It's not always just about graphics. Like there's an enemy in Borderlands, I've been using that a lot lately, called the Bully Mong. And in the 360 and the PS3 version, it'll pick up rocks off the ground and throw them at you, but it has one specific motion for that, and it generates the rocks. On a high-end gaming PC, its actions are less scripted, and it can rip rocks out of the environment and throw them at you, because the processor can handle that much things going on at once. And then like it's little things that you don't notice that just widen the scope of games. And so I'm excited for the new consoles because I think it's going to give developers so much more room to do little things besides just improve the graphics.
Well,
Yeah.
Start saving now because it's probably coming out this year.
Yeah.
What are you going to go for, personally?
Blu-ray is a big part of it, but also I am a giant Halo fanboy, and I think probably the 360, like the next Xbox is probably where I'm going to go. Like I like PS3s, but I sold my PS3 because I didn't play it enough, and I kept my 360 longer. So it's
I
fine.
bought a PS3 because my Xbox failed me.
That's true. The original Xbox is okay. Yeah, and also I'm probably gonna wait a little bit and see if the new Xbox is Red Ring. Half of them just die.
I was gonna bring that up.
It's been weird for me because like I bought a 64, obviously, like everybody else on planet Earth.
Yeah.
And then I bought an Xbox.
Yeah.
And then I got a PS3. So I mean,
Didn't you own a Wii for a little bit?
Yeah, I don't like to talk about that.
I was the same. I bought a Wii when the big price reduction happened on them, and then I played it for a couple of months, and then like it sat in my corner and collected dust for a couple of months, and then I sold it to one of our friends.
See, at least I sold the Wii when it was still hot enough to where I could get like $200, and I was like, thank goodness.
Yeah,
for that.
yeah.
But like,
But I do appreciate
Craigslist.
I do appreciate the Wii though in its in its place, like with Nintendo games. Like they made some pretty great games.
Yeah.
The problem with the Wii was that it was
honestly, it would be like every 7 months I would be like, oh, that game looks fun.
Yeah. But see, like that's the problem is like third-party developers for it couldn't make that good of games because it was so unique and like compared to the other systems it wasn't as high of a level, so they would have to like make completely new engines and stuff.
Whatever puzzling reason, Reggie Fils-Aimé was so opposed to HD for the Wii. I'm just like, what's your deal, man? Like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I think that one of the big things for me is that I'd like to see both. I'd like to see both Sony and Microsoft stick with similar controller designs. Like the gamepad for the Wii U is a cool idea, and like to me it seems more like a novelty than anything else. Like,
that's what I thought. But I played the Wii U and it handles great.
Well, yeah, I assume it will, but I feel like that I just like to play games where I just have, because like to me when I'm playing a video game, a controller doesn't, it like just feels like an attachment on myself, like I'm just doing it.
But imagine how immersive that could be, like in a game where a character does have something like that, like in Arkham City, when like you're playing the game on the Xbox or the PS3, and you go to decode like a lock or something, and Batman kneels down and pulls out his decoder, and then you use the two thumbsticks and you're watching as Batman does this. But imagine if you went up to that and Batman kneeled down, and then like it just appeared on your screen, and you use the decoder as like the Wii pad thing. Like that's pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool.
Like that kind of deal is sweet.
But I think with a lot of games, like I just like to see a traditional controller design, and I'm sure that they will have something traditional, and they might do something different too, but I don't know. I don't think that, for me, I don't really have any expectations. Like, I know it's going to be better than what I have right now. Either way, I know that they're going to make a better system. These people spend so much time on it. I know that they're going to make something good.
Yeah, because really all we know about the systems is that they will have better graphics.
Yeah.
And that's like it. We don't know what the controller functions are going to be. Like, we can guess. And we know that they're going to port, like, they're going to have some good games at launch, but we don't know, like, the way that they're going to factor in stuff.
A concern I have of a launch something for Xbox is they're thinking that you might have, like, Kinect has to be connected. Like, was one thing that they were talking about.
But they're also talking about incorporating it into the system, which would be a lot less noticeable. But then again, like, system placement would...
And people are concerned about, like, privacy breaches with that, too.
Yeah.
And so,
my biggest concern is it's like over the past like couple years, there's almost been a giant attack on the used games market. Like it started with EA.
Well, they were thinking, Sony about having you can't sell back games.
Yeah. Well, because EA does the online passes now, and so it's like if you buy like Dead Space 2 or Battlefield 3 or any games, Assassin's Creed 3, if you buy those for the PS3, which has that free online component, if you buy the game used, you have to spend another $30 for a Uplay pass to be able to get the online.
That's how all the EA Sports games are too.
And so there's been that.
$10 per game, which is stupid.
Is it just 10? Because I thought for Battlefield 3 I heard it was like 30.
It was 10.
Oh, okay, that's not bad. But still, it's it's an extra price, and I have friends who have argued and been like, no, it's not a big deal. I understand completely, but for a college student and someone who doesn't have a lot of money to spend on video games, and you want to go the cheap option, buy a used game, and enjoy the online connectivity is kind of unfortunate. And so a big fear is that, companies, there's been rumors and speculation that both the new 360 and the PS3 are moving in that direction where they might not be able to play used games. Like that's a fear. Like there are technologies that have been bought up that won't allow them. And it might be just an over-speculated fear. It might just be, but it's still in the realm of possibilities. And to me, that's kind of like, if either one of them has that ability, I won't buy that console. Unless the price of games goes down.
See, with those online passes, it's like, with the PS3, I'm like, okay, I see a little bit. Gaming service is free. And then if you have to pay for it to use their servers or whatever, like, all right, whatever, that's fine. But then, like, if you're playing Xbox Live where you have to buy an account and then you have to buy an EA account on top of your Xbox Live account, like that blows.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because
that's another thing about Xbox is like I keep on forgetting you have to pay for Xbox Live.
Yeah, I pay $60 a year.
Like more people play it, but it's like I can't afford that.
Yeah, and people are like, it's so worth it just because of like the Xbox's whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but you pay $60 a year. Like I don't notice any blaring problems with PSN.
Like when they were hacked by like a really high end like hacker.
Yeah, they were hacked by Anonymous, and then they gave us free stuff, and I was like, okay, that's fine with me.
And like since then they really changed it and stuff.
Like
and people are like, well, PSN can get hacked. Well, guess what? So Xbox Live could be hacked too.
It hacked the FBI security. Like it hacked everything.
For me, like I prefer Xbox Live. Like. Over the PSN, I just like the. I just like the visuals of it, and I'm not a big fan of the cross-media bar that the PS3 has, and I think that exploring the 360's online components, and I think it's better advertised, better, because they get the.
Yeah, well, they have to do that because you have to pay $60
because they get the revenue streams for it. They can put more into it, and I like that. But at the same time, like. It is a pain when my Xbox Live membership expires and it goes silver and I can't watch Netflix anymore. And they're like, or I can't watch YouTube because like, you have to.
There's like the other day or like a couple weekends ago, they're like, oh, Xbox users, you can use Netflix for free now. And it's like,
oh, they changed it?
Well, like for the weekend, for one day, like for Saturday, you could watch Netflix for free. But it's like, oh, cool, we have a Netflix account already and I can watch it for free on my PC, my PlayStation Vita and my PS3 if I want to.
Service you pay for already?
Yeah. Well, you can pay to use it on our thing.
Exactly.
So, but no, I don't know. I don't know. But I like the way the 360 handles accounts better than the PS3. But I heard the PS3 is moving more in that direction. I'm excited for that.
I just have mine automatically signed in and it doesn't bug me at all.
I mean, I have not had one problem other than that Anonymous hacked the thing. But that wasn't even a problem for me because, like I said earlier in the podcast, I like story games.
Yeah. And it hasn't been as much of a thing here, but like back home, when a bunch of my friends on 360s and we'd always be migrating.
They owned weed?
They were on weed in 360s.
What? I think a bunch of my friends owned 360s.
I know, but the way you abbreviated we did.
You were like, they were on a bunch of 360s and weed.
Oh,
anyway. And then you started explaining other stuff.
Okay.
That's hilarious.
We would migrate back and forth. Dang it. We'd migrate back and forth from each other's houses and take controllers. And just the being able to, like, the recovery of counts and the logging in and the way it saves your data and all that, like, that system to me is perfect. And then I've tried doing that with the PS3. I only have a couple friends doing PS3s, but, like, importing your account and getting that and having the trophies and everything, I just don't think it's as well-rounded, and I think it could definitely be improved on. That's another reason I like it.
I think it's fine for free. I'm just going to say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're getting something for free, don't complain too much, or they'll start making you pay it.
Well, I'm good with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have anything else to say about it. I don't know why I said
Come on, Tim. You learned not to do that in speech class.
Okay.
Or did you ever take speech
I took
class?
speech class.
All right. Well, you learned not to do that.
I got an A in that class.
It's a required class.
Oh, you got an A, and you're saying now.
Yeah.
Come on.
I'm not giving a speech.
You should be.
All right.
I'm on a podcast that we do for free.
All right, dang it.
Well, we're going to start making
Our
you pay
audience
money.
demands quality.
Okay, so here's my question. You sit down, anybody from history that's real, anybody from history at a chair in front of you, and you ask them a question, why they did what they did, and they'll answer you completely honestly. Who do you sit down and what do you ask them?
There's a lot of names that jump into my head.
I know.
I have.
That's a pretty good one.
It's not a matter. This is going to be one of those questions that's not a matter of not being able to think of anybody. It's a matter of trying to figure
Of
out
who?
why.
Exactly.
I think my immediate reaction was like someone like Adolf Hitler or something
That was
like
mine too.
But then I was thinking about it, and it's like,
They think they did the right thing.
yeah,
so it's
I think I can I'm not saying that I can understand perfectly what
Yeah.
they did, but I think I have a better understanding. I feel like I can understand more easy when people do evil things than when people do completely selfless things. And so I think I'd want to talk to someone.
I have one that I just thought of.
Who?
Is like maybe someone who worked on the atom bomb, like Einstein or someone, just like
why even
Like-
invent that?
because Einstein always said like he should have stayed a watchmaker and stuff. So I asked him why he knew it was going to be so bad. He knew what it was going to cause. Why he did it anyway.
Well, I think a lot of them knew that the Axis powers were working on the same thing, and I think that's a reason a lot of them did it, because they knew it was going to be invented,
Well,
and it
I
was
mean,
better if they were the ones who did it. Than these
Germany
ones.
was defeated before it was even like used, and
Yeah.
And that was just like
and
like a
Japan
major scare tactic in
wasn't
a
that
way, too.
technologically advanced compared to, so
That was a big scare tactic too. Like
yeah.
just bringing it
But
up.
like I mean at that point, like I don't know, it's just I would still ask him, like, you knew that it was gonna happen, like why would you still do that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
That's a good question.
But like I wouldn't say it in like a condescending tone, you know.
Right. Like you're just
Just
asking
like-
them like in the most sincere way, like why?
Yeah.
Like why did you do this?
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I think to be really like informative and I think you can gain a lot of perspective from one of those guys. That's
See,
gotta be
but
hard to say.
I kept on going back to Hitler too, but I was like, it would just be more of the same. That like if you watch a video of him, you know exactly why he's doing it. He
Mhm.
tells you exactly why.
Yeah.
Like if I were to ask him a question, it'd be like, why do you think you're better than these people? Like what makes you think that you're so much better than this person or that person?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That'll lead you to that point. Like that would be a question I would ask.
Well, yeah, but like it was well documented that Hitler really felt that Jews were just altogether an inferior race, that they didn't belong, that their blood tainted humanity altogether.
Right. Like
And-
but the question would be like, why do you think that?
Yeah.
Like
Yes,
what drove you to that point? Like
Yeah.
why even think that? Like that would be interesting to hear that.
Oh, this is a really tough
I
question.
know.
for me.
That's what I'm
I thought of
saying.
a couple because Hitler was my immediate first reaction, but then like I kind of thought about it. Another one is Judas Iscariot from the Bible.
I was thinking about
Gave
biblical
Jesus
people
up.
as well.
But then like I kind of like
But you know,
I understand
I heard
why.
an interesting theory about that the other day, actually.
Okay.
Like, someone was talking about how they thought that the reason Judas turned Jesus in was because Judas thought that Jesus would react and it would force him to step
Yeah.
in power. And
Like because a lot of the Jewish people thought that the Messiah was going to come and like start a kingdom on earth and you know start wars and everything and like take out all like the people that were oppressing them and stuff. And so yeah, I heard that theory
so
before
a lot
too.
of people thought that Judas
Where
was doing the right thing
Yeah.
and that he was giving Jesus the push he needed to step into power. And then once he realized that he did the wrong thing.
And then there's always like the theories like, well, he's just selfish the whole time and he just wanted money. Like
Yeah.
yeah,
And I guess I have a harder time believing those ones.
yeah.
yeah. Might have been a little both too, you know.
Yeah.
Well, because it feels like that he wasn't necessarily just selfish, because as soon as he found out what actually happened, he killed himself.
Yeah.
So it was like he felt remorseful about it, and so.
Well, like haven't you ever done something bad, wanting the result, and then felt bad afterward?
Yeah, but like I think that if he was just greedy, and he wanted to turn Jesus in, if greed was his only motivator, he would probably know that because the Jewish people wanted him dead. So
like, haven't you ever eaten someone's? Like, this is really not it's on the far end of the spectrum.
Like, there's times where you could say something to somebody knowing that it will get a rise, and when you don't get the right rise, or they get more angry than you anticipated, then you feel like a piece of garbage.
Yeah, but I was gonna say, this is on the other end of this.
But obviously,
this is very mild. But I'm my example. But it's like, you eat someone's food out of the fridge. You know it's their food, but it looks good, and then they confront you about it, and you want to play it off, you want to lie about it, you have in your mind what you were gonna say that can fool them. But then there's this that little the feeling in the back of your neck where you just feel so guilty about it that you just break down. You're like, I'm sorry, man, I just ate your pizza.
Look good. Sorry.
I broke.
Yeah. I don't know. I just, people do that kind of thing, and I think it can be done to the extreme, as in turning someone in to die too.
Yeah. I guess.
Yeah.
But I don't see it that way necessarily.
There's so many people you could ask questions to, sports people, like Lance Armstrong, a hero to millions, starts to live strong. Why dope? You're eventually going to get caught.
To make millions of dollars.
You could ask Mente Teo's girlfriend. I mean, his boyfriend.
Yeah, I'm like, why even do that in the first place?
Why catfish this guy?
Yeah.
That guy that catfished him.
Yeah, but
why would you do this?
Just thinking back in history, ask Manson. Ask just somebody who seriously messed up. Just why?
Yeah.
Or somebody who did something so bad that you just why?
I think, this might be culturally insensitive to bring it up so soon, but the shooting that happened recently, any of them really, just be especially one where children were involved, how, you know what I mean? I'm sure they're just.
Well, also in my mind, people react to those shootings and blame it on everything. And it's well, why go back and be why didn't you take care of that guy's mental illness? You knew he had a mental illness. Why didn't you address it or tell anyone at least? I'm not saying you had to treat it, but why didn't you at least tell people that this guy was kind of insane and stuff? So, what, Tim?
I just feel really bad about myself.
That's probably
because you were in the middle of saying that, and I was I just want to go back and ask George Lucas why about episode 1.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
But that's not my real answer. I felt bad because I started laughing in the middle
of the serious part.
But I wasn't laughing about children.
You could ask George Lucas why.
Yeah, well that's not.
You can ask anybody in history.
I know.
It's whatever is the most interesting to you.
I'll be why did you make E.T. for the Atari? That game is the worst.
Why? Why did you get rid of every copy in landfill? I want one.
We actually used to have that game.
Really?
Yeah.
I wonder how much it's worth.
I don't know where it is anymore. Or I think my cousin, because it was my cousin's Atari, I think he took it back.
I would probably sit down, sorry. I would probably sit down, probably one of the serial killers or something like that. Like a Manson or something.
Yeah, I would almost want to do it with someone who did something good, though.
Even though he's completely insane,
yeah, that's
I'd
what
want to do it behind, glass.
I think someone like Nixon would be interesting, too.
With Watergate?
Yeah, someone who not just an ordinary person making a mistake, but someone that was elevated to the status of, presidential status. That made a mistake like that, just be
maybe Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, that'd be
yeah.
You could solve a lot of questions that way.
Magic bullet.
Just do Bill Clinton. Be was it really worth it, dude?
I think people have asked him out already.
Probably. He's yes, it was.
Why not?
Why wouldn't I do it?
One of the people that I think would be interesting is Jackie Robinson, baseball player, broke the color barrier. There was a lot of hatred. He had thousands of death threats from people for going into, especially when he had to go play teams in the South. He played for the LA Dodgers, which Los Angeles, even in the the 40s or Brooklyn, he was in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
New York at the time was a really an open city as far as anything. And New York City was really open, but then like he'd have to go play teams like in
Spin-off
Atlanta.
to that is also Branch Rickey,
Yeah,
the manager.
yeah.
Like,
why
why
did they
bring him on? Like, even what you're gonna get. Why bring Jackie Robinson?
Well, because Jackie Robinson was that good. He just saw a ball player. But
that
like, why would
gonna be
you?
awesome.
Yeah.
The 42.
Side,
Yeah.
Random side note.
I'm excited for that.
But-
That's what brought up the
See, like,
my mind.
it's like people like that change the world and change history.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like I appreciate those people.
Oh, yeah,
like the good
definitely.
people that do it for good,
Yeah, Jackie Robinson is my favorite athlete of all time. I mean, he played for my Dodgers, so won a couple World Series. Not in my lifetime, but still, I'm still proud of it. And but like just people who did like great things like that, people who were willing to challenge race barriers and willing to be like, no, this is wrong. We shouldn't be treated like this, or especially the white people who stood up and race things and were like, no, people shouldn't be treated like this. You were like Abraham Lincoln, like, why did you take that stance on no slavery? There were presidents before.
The new
that
movie
put us.
Lincoln, that movie does a great job of showing like underneath like everything, because like that's not. It's about them like getting that amendment passed, like that's what that whole movie's about, and it's just awesome because it shows a lot of the why and everything, and it's pretty good, pretty faithful.
Yeah, or any of the founding fathers would be interesting.
Yeah.
Like Benjamin Franklin, especially because he was in his 80s when the Revolution started, and so he'd worked for the English government. He was what's it called? What was he? He was
a diplomat. Wasn't
he was an
France,
ambassador kind of, and so
like that.
why step up and be like, no, this place belongs to be, or it should be allowed to be free.
To bounce off of your question, like I was just thinking about the founding fathers, and it's not exactly why did they do what they did, but something that would really interest me is to ask the founding fathers what they thought of America now. Like that question to me, like to get their opinion on what's become, like because they wrote the Constitution, and I think that would be really interesting for me to see is what they thought of what has become of it, or questions like that. People that I think. To find the founders of things, I guess, and ask them about the institutions that they started and the directions that they've taken, I think would be kind of eye-opening to see and hear.
I think J. Edgar Hoover would be a good one. Because he did a lot of strange things, and he set up a lot of secretive stuff. And so, just asking him. And he also dressed in drag, so that's really weird.
That is very weird.
Throwing that why as a side note. Why did you do all this?
Why did you dress
secret,
in drag?
Important stuff? And why did you put on a dress?
Are you basing this off of J. Edgar's movie?
Because dresses make you feel free.
All right, but I don't think we have any viewer questions.
We have some, but to spare time, we're gonna do a thing where we roll the dice and only one person will answer it.
Okay.
All
right. So first one is from Maddie.
Okay.
Vigil. And she wants to know if we are Team Edward or Team Jacob.
Oh, good Lord, please don't be me.
It is Oscar. Oh.
Oscar, are you Team Edward or Team Jacob?
Quickly, my friend.
I'm Team Jacob all the way.
Okay, I like it.
Why?
Why?
Yes. Just really quick.
Hunk, man.
Yeah.
Give me one reason why. He's a hunk?
He's not pale.
I like wolves.
You like wolves.
I like.
All right. Fair enough.
Very good answer.
The only part I really enjoyed about the movie was the giant CGI wolves. They're kind of cool to look at. I'm not gonna lie.
Fair enough.
All right. Question number 2.
All right. Question number 2 is from Josh Spahn, our guest from last week.
We could just skip over that one.
Yes. But anyway, he wanted to know if we think that the 42 frames per second, as seen in The Hobbit, Unexpected Journey, is the future for movies.
Ice and call.
I hope not, because from what I hear, it makes people sick and vomit. And anybody that saw The Hobbit in 42 frames per second, and not only did it taint their viewing experience, but it made them bag on the movie, which is why it didn't get as great reviews as it should have, because it's a really good movie.
It was,
especially Radagast, Isaac's favorite part.
But all they would talk about is the 42 frames per second and how it bugged them and all that stuff. So I mean, if we get used to it, then sure, why not? But as
imagine
for right now, I'm completely content with the way movies
imagine shaky cam plus 42 frames per second.
Like the Hunger Games in 42 frames per second.
Yeah.
It would just be terrible. So, no,
Right.
I hope not.
And we have
Paranormal Activity 5.
we have an answer that one of our guests or one of our listeners gave to a question from last week when fictional vehicle. And I answered Millennium Falcon. You guys answered all sorts of different things.
I answered Falcor.
Falcor.
Yeah.
And Rudy Vigil.
All the way from Germany.
All the way from Germany. Responded, the Magic School Bus.
From the Magic
School Bus. Seen in the Magic School Bus. And that is a pretty awesome choice because it can like transform.
Into anything.
Yeah.
It can turn into a Millennium Falcon if it wanted to.
But not Falcor.
No.
Can I throw out a viewer question?
You have one?
Yeah. I mean,
okay.
I'm not.
Wait, did you make it up?
Are you the
No. Like, can I throw a question out to viewers?
Oh, yeah.
That we can talk about next week.
Yeah.
Sure, go for it.
Make it quick, Sonny.
Done. Favorite late night snack? What are you guys' opinions?
All right.
Okay.
Good one.
All right.
And we're not going to rag on Honey Boo's mom this week?
No, I think we're good. The walking jar of mayonnaise? No.
So, yeah.
Look at sandwiches a lot different. Thanks, man.
Answer the questions for yourselves and send us questions of your own.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for listening.
Have a great week.
Signing off.